Today, we're going to talk about which supplements need to be taken with food so that you get the most out of them in terms of absorption. So, I am a Robin-Nutritionist and I talk to primarily women over 40. And if you're listening to this and you already know me, then of course you know that. So, let's get into the supplements that I want you to make sure that you take with food. So the first one is vitamin D3 with K2 because those are both fat soluble vitamins, which means that they need fat. And all of the ones that I'm going to mention need a fat source in order to absorb in your body. And what's a fat source? It could be avocado, olive oil, it could be nuts, it could be salmon, peanut butter. Those are fat sources. So basically, if you're eating your food and it has, some oils in it, that will suffice. So you're D3 with K2. Now, if you're taking vitamin D without the K2 and it already has a carrier oil, so if it's a soft gel without the K, which is I recommend the K because it's super important. But if you're taking just the D by itself, it usually has a carrier oil within the supplement. The D3 with K2 need the fat. Also, if you're taking vitamin A and vitamin E, they both need food. Omegas are good to be absorbed or better to be absorbed if you are using it with food. So like fish oil or even the plant-based ones, because if you'll know me, then I take a plant-based omega. You can take that with food. Iron is this is the thing. Iron can be best absorbed on an empty stomach, but if your stomach is empty, it might cause you nausea. So then you got to bring in some food to prevent that. So the next supplements that I'm going to talk about don't necessarily need food to absorb, but sometimes you need to take it with food because of your own individual body, and not taking it with food gives you an upset stomach. So magnesium, for example. With magnesium, it can have a laxative effect. And just a sidebar about magnesium, I recommend either glycinate or citrate, not oxide. Magnesium oxide does not absorb. So either glycinate or citrate. And I personally take it without food. However, magnesium can have a laxative effect. And if you take magnesium and it makes your bowels run, then you need food to stop that. You have to play with your own body to see how you behave. So do you need to take it with food? It depends. So you're going to take that. So I like to take my magnesium before I go to bed because it helps with relaxation and sleep for a lot of people. But then I've had clients say it didn't help her with sleep. So we're all different, right? Just know that. Probiotics. You would take that with your food, but read the label. You're looking for shelf-stable probiotics. Digestive enzymes, that helps us digest our food, process our food. You're going to take those before you eat, so right before your meal, so that can help you process that meal. Multivitamins, which I personally do not take, and I actually do not recommend. That's another story for another day. If you have questions about that, let me know. But if you are taking a multivitamin, then a lot of times there's vitamin A's and other vitamins that are fat soluble that needs a fat source. So to err on the side of caution, take your multivitamin with food. I take encapsulated produce. I take fruits and vegetables in capsules, which has all of those nutrients in it in a non-synthetic form. So a multivitamin is a synthetic form of a little bit of this, a little bit of that, packed, powerful, full of the actual nutrients, the pits, the peel, the seeds from the actual produce. I will put that information down in the description if you want to know more about that. So it's encapsulated produce. And I will also, of course, put the information down for the necessary nutrition D3, K2, magnesium, glycinate, and citrate. Did I say zinc? So zinc, it needs to be taken with food to avoid nausea. And then adaptogen herbs, ashwagandha, rhodiola, take with food. Yes, take with food. And your B vitamins, I'm kind of looking at my notes. Your B vitamins take with food as well to avoid nausea. CoQ10, that it's a really good antioxidant, and especially if you're taking a statin, a cholesterol medication, you definitely want to take CoQ10, and you want to take that with food. And did I leave anything out? I'm not sure that I did. If I did, if there are supplements that I'd mentioned and you have a question about it, put it down below. And I take maca root. And I take maca root and I'm not telling you to take maca root, but I take maca root as a help me with my hormones. And I take that in between my meals. So some things need to be taken in between. Calcium supplements. I do not recommend calcium supplements at all because they may do more harm than good for us and can create some heart issues. And I definitely don't want to be the one to recommend something that is controversial or questionable, though your provider may recommend calcium supplements for your bones. Do your research because the best thing for our bones, I digress, vitamin D with K2 and eating calcium rich foods and doing weight bearing exercises and helping our metabolism. Well, when I say eating, go back to doing the weight bearing exercises. So lifting weights helps our bones. And for that, you want to eat some protein. So that will help your body. PDF file down or a link to a file that you can download that has what I just mentioned as far as the supplements to take with food. So I hope that helps. This is Robin, nutritionist from Necessary Nutrition. And I'm always going to say, if you do not have your Necessary Nutrition D3K2, why? Why? And if you do have it, yay. We're glad to be a part of your wellness team. We're always sending you blessings. And if you know of us, that you know when you open your box, there's a blessing in there for you. All right. That's all I'm going to say. Peace and blessings. Check the description for some additional resources. Eat well, think well, and be well. This is Robin. Take care.